Back in the 1990s, there was one drink that dared to ask, what if your beverage looked less like soda and more like a lava lamp? That drink was Orbitz, a short-lived jelly-bead-filled curiosity that confused shoppers and terrified dentists. And if you're wondering why anyone would want such a thing, well, today we're diving into the weird history of Orbitz. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. After that, please leave a comment and let us know what other weird beverages you would like to hear about. Okay, time to crack open a bottle of Orbitz to see what made it rise to fame. Just watch out for the weird floaty things. Orbitz wasn't a soda, a juice, or even a sports drink. So what was it? Well, technically, it was a non-carbonated fruit-flavored beverage with suspended edible balls of gelatin. If you're wondering what that translates to in plain English, the answer is liquid with floating jelly beads inside. The secret behind Orbitz's hypnotic look was that it was blinding us with science. Food science, that is. The beads, made from gelatin gum, were suspended in a liquid carefully calibrated so their density matched. That kept them from sinking or rising, and the result was a drink that looked like a science fair project. Created by Clearly Canadian Beverage Company, the same brand behind the cult favorite sparkling waters, Orbitz launched in 1996. It started as an exclusively Canadian product, but after some early positive buzz, the company rolled it out across the U.S. later that same year. The original flavors, for the record, were as wild as the packaging: pineapple banana cherry coconut, blueberry melon strawberry, vanilla orange, and raspberry citrus. Each had brightly colored beads floating in the liquid like alien life forms. And each had the chaotic energy of a kid hitting all of the above at a frozen yogurt toppings bar. The bottles were also unique: a small clear vessel with a bulging midsection that showcased the beads, topped with a label featuring a planetary logo. It was space age meets 90s mall kiosk chic. And if Clearly Canadian wanted kids to imagine drinking a futuristic space elixir while playing GoldenEye on Nintendo 64, they totally nailed it. Orbitz's ads leaned into all that weirdness. The commercials promised a unique beverage experience, and one tagline challenged drinkers to prepare to embark on a journey of the senses. Whether that journey ended in enlightened wonder or reflexive gagging depended on your personal taste. But for a brief moment, Orbitz was everywhere. Gas stations, supermarkets, mall food courts, anywhere that sold Clearly Canadian sparkling water also stocked Orbitz. Kids bought it for the novelty. Parents bought it once and never again. Orbitz wasn't alone in its weirdness. The 90s were a golden age of bizarre beverages, when soda companies and upstart brands were chasing youth culture with ever-stranger concoctions. If the 80s were about classic colas, the 90s were all about standing out, on shelves, in commercials, and in lunchboxes. Crystal Pepsi, for example, promised purity and clarity, a see-through cola that looked futuristic but tasted like confusion. It was Pepsi's attempt to ride the wave of clear products that were suddenly everywhere, from shampoo to Game Boys. But the flavor never lived up to the hype. Then there was Surge, which was Coca-Cola's neon green turbo-caffeinated answer to Mountain Dew. Marketed with commercials full of shrieking teens and extreme stunts, it positioned itself as the drink for kids who thought Red Bull was too adult and Dew was too tame. Fruitopia, meanwhile, tried to corner the New Age juice market with psychedelic ads and groovy names like Strawberry Passion Awareness and Tangerine Wavelength. It was marketed less like a drink and more like a lifestyle accessory, complete with trippy TV spots and tie-ins at McDonald's. And of course, there was Ecto Cooler, a high-C flavor tie-in to Ghostbusters. It turned kids' tongues green and became one of the longest-lasting movie promotions in food history, surviving long after the release cycle of the film it was linked to. Those were especially weird ones. But Orbitz's bulbous bottle and space-age branding were in good company, because even the more straightforward drinks of the 90s leaned on eye-catching packaging to stand out. Snapple, for example, became a cultural phenomenon with its quirky glass bottles, trivia under the caps, and marketing campaigns that made iced tea feel like a lifestyle brand. The Snapple Lady commercials in particular gave the company a friendly, authentic vibe, a far cry from the slick soda ads of Coke and Pepsi. Sobe, the South Beach Beverage Company, pushed herbal teas and juices with a lizard logo and edgy branding. Their brightly colored flavors, with names like Liz Blizz and Dragon, were tailor-made for the 90s X Games crowd. In many schools, Sobe bottles were just as common in backpacks as Coke or Pepsi. And Capri Sun came in those foil pouches that made them feel more like toys than juice boxes, complete with a straw-poking ritual that became a rite of passage for kids. Taken together, these drinks show how the 90s beverage aisle was less about quenching thirst and more about creating an identity. Kids didn't just want soda, they wanted something that looked wild in their hand. Something that matched the neon extreme sports Nickelodeon slime vibe of the decade. And Orbitz fit right in with this wave of wacky drinks. Colorful, experimental, and marketed directly at kids and teens. The problem was that unlike Surge, which at least delivered a caffeine kick, Ecto Cooler, which had a blockbuster movie tie-in, or Snapple, which built a cult-like following, Orbitz was weirdly without purpose. It had no nostalgia hook, no functional benefit, and it didn't taste all that great. In other words, it was all packaging and no payoff. And in the crowded 90s marketplace, that just wasn't enough. Orbitz had a splashy debut, but its lifespan was shorter than a Tamagotchi's. While early sales were strong enough to merit a nationwide rollout, the drink quickly crashed. Why? Well, first off, Orbitz's appearance was polarizing. To some, it looked magical. To others, it looked like a petri dish. There was also the fact that the taste didn't live up to the look. Most people described it as flat, overly sweet, and vaguely chemical. The beads, despite being edible, had little flavor of their own, more like chewy lumps than bursts of taste. As one food critic put it, the taste was an afterthought. The spectacle was the point. And of course, Orbitz had no nutritional value whatsoever. It wasn't a soda with caffeine, a juice with vitamins, or a sports drink with electrolytes. It was just sugar water with floaties. And in the 90s, when parents were becoming more health conscious and sugary drinks were starting to face backlash, that was a significant disadvantage. In fact, by the late 90s, other extreme beverages were also fading. The novelty of sugar-packed drinks was giving way to bottled water and sports drinks like Gatorade and Powerade. So not only was Orbitz weird, it was outdated before it even had a chance to catch on. And that's probably why Orbitz was discontinued just 2 years after its launch. By 1998, it was gone from shelves, remembered mostly as a failed experiment in turning beverages into conversation pieces. C'est la vie. If you happen to be one of the few people that miss Orbitz, don't worry. The world is still full of drinks that scratch the same itch. Take Boba tea. Like Orbitz, it mixes drinkable liquid with chewy extras. But where Orbitz fizzled out after 2 years, Boba has become a global phenomenon. Born in Taiwan in the 1980s, bubble tea started when tea shops added tapioca pearls, already popular in desserts, to milk tea. By the 1990s, it had spread across Asia, and by the 2000s, it exploded in North America, with entire cafes devoted to the drink. The difference is obvious. Orbitz's beads were flavorless, while Boba pearls soak up tea or fruit flavor. And instead of leaving people confused about whether to chew or choke, Boba comes with giant straws designed for slurping pearls. That intentionality helped turn Boba tea from a novelty into a daily ritual, one you share with friends at a cafe, instead of a one-time dare in the soda aisle. Orbitz may have flopped, but it opened the door for drinks that treat packaging and texture as part of the experience. Japanese Ramune soda, for example, swaps beads for a glass marble you pop down into the bottle. Aloe vera drinks, popular across Asia and Latin America, suspend chunks of aloe pulp that add both texture and nutritional value. And in the 2010s, chia seed drinks had their moment, floating little gelatinous seeds in flavored water, basically the health food version of Orbitz. And of course, every few years, some new novelty drink tries to recapture that same sense of weird fun. From glow-in-the-dark energy drinks to limited-run Mountain Dew flavors, Orbitz paved the way for beverages that don't just quench thirst, they make you look twice. Orbitz may have fizzled out as a drink, but its brand lived on in a strange twist. Its web domain was acquired by the travel agency Orbitz.com. So if you typed Orbitz in the early 2000s, you weren't buying a soda, you were booking a flight to Cleveland. The travel brand's name was meant to evoke speed, movement, and circling the globe. A totally different branding logic than the drink's floaty, space-age vibe. In practice, the travel company's branding proved far more durable. Orbitz.com still exists today as part of the Expedia group, showing that clever positioning and, actually providing something people actually want can outlast meaningless kooky aesthetics. Meanwhile, unopened bottles of the original drink have become collector's items. On eBay, sellers have listed bottles for hundreds of dollars. Some enthusiasts claim they still own sealed bottles from 1997, beads intact, though no one recommends cracking one open. Unless you want to see what 30-year-old fruit goo looks like, you should probably keep that bottle sealed. Orbitz has also developed a small but passionate cult following. Clearly, Canadian reps have admitted that they still received inquiries about bringing it back long after its demise. In July 2013, Clearly Canadian even announced they were considering a limited run of nostalgic beverages, Orbitz included, to satisfy what they called nostalgia demand. The idea was to release annual runs if the reception was strong. Fans got excited, but nothing came of it. Clearly Canadian focused on reviving its sparkling water line instead. Orbitz stayed in the vault. Today, Orbitz lives on in 90s listicles, YouTube taste tests, and the occasional Instagram post of preserved bottles glowing like a neon relic. It's remembered less for its taste and more for its sheer weirdness. The drink that dared to be lava lamp chic. So, was Orbitz a failure or a pioneer? Both. It didn't last, but it pushed the boundaries of what a drink could be and opened the door for novelty beverages everywhere. In fact, you could argue Orbitz was ahead of its time. Now, we live in an era where people don't just eat and drink, they film what they eat and drink. The novelty, the strange textures, the wow factor are just as important as flavor. In that sense, Orbitz might have been better suited to 2025 than 1996. Platforms like TikTok thrive on the weird and the shareable, turning bizarre food and drinks into content. If nothing else, Orbitz proved that food doesn't just feed us. Sometimes it entertains us, sometimes it grosses us out, and sometimes it makes us wonder, what on earth were we thinking back in the 90s? So what do you think? And were you a fan of Orbitz? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to explore more episodes from Weird History Food.